CNN, Saturday night, 8 Eastern. Live in the CNN Newsroom, Frederica Whitfield.
As schools around the country are reopening, a new report reveals a serious dropout crisis in the Latino community in this country. It shows 41% of Latino female students do not graduate on time with a standard high school diploma. It's the focus of our snapshot across America. So joining me from Las Vegas, Lucy Flores, a law student and former high school dropout. Good to see you. From Houston, Macarena Hernandez. She is a former high school teacher and journalist. Good to see you as well. And is currently the director of Latino initiatives at the University of Houston, Victoria. And in Chicago, Tanya Cabrera, a college and career coach. Good to see all of you. Okay, so Lucy, let me begin with you. You dropped out at the age of 17, right? And you have a pretty big family. You're the youngest of 13 kids. Your mom left early on in the equation. Your dad was left to raise all the children. What happened that you said you had just simply given up? You decided to drop out of school, and you felt at the time that was the best thing for you. Why?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of different factors involved. You know, obviously I had an unstable home environment. I was raised in poverty. There was just really a lack of support both in the home and in the schools. I got involved with gangs early on. It was just kind of a lot of different factors that, you know, eventually made it extremely challenging for me to even consider thinking of dropping or of finishing high school. It just wasn't something that was on the radar for me. It wasn't anything that was expected of me. It just wasn't something that really happens for a lot of people in my community.
And before I get to what happened, what the turning point was for you, Macarena, you know, as a school teacher, you have seen this, heard this from a lot of students, right? How real is this sentiment, and what's a teacher to do when they hear this coming out of the mouth of a student?
Well, I think that the message about college and graduating from high school has to start at the elementary school level. When I was a high school teacher teaching 15-year-olds along the Texas-Mexico border, it's really heartbreaking to see that a lot of these kids have already given up. And then you couple that with the fact that they're attending overcrowded schools, underperforming schools, where teachers don't really have the time to dedicate and mend those gaps, those achievement gaps. And so a kid gets to sophomore English class and they're already behind, and they feel like the hurdle is just too much to climb. And so I think it's imperative that the message starts at the elementary school level, because sometimes by the time it's their high school age, it's a little too late.
At elementary school level, that would be great, but sadly, in too many cases, Tanya, you can identify with this, that a lot of these young people are not hearing about this. There is no intervention until the high school level. So when you're trying to counsel kids on higher education, of college, on careers, do you feel like the young people, particularly young Latina girls that you are confronting once they're in high school, that they really have defied the odds if they're already thinking about college and thinking about a career path?
The majority of students within my department, we're actually doing some great initiatives. We're doing early outreach at the elementary school level. We have Gear Up coaches and college and career coaches that take their data-driven information to drive initiatives to allow access to resources to get them ready, not only the student but the parent, in regards to pursuing a post-secondary path, whether it be a career, 2-year, 4-year institution. So when working with some of the women in the school, they come with, each student is different. They have an array of issues that they deal with at the home level, assuming positions as the adult, taking care of their younger siblings, and handling their course loads. So it gets really difficult, but I think the one thing that helps the most is to intervene early on and get these students on track, and that's the most important thing that we're trying to tackle on at this point.
So let's talk now about the things that need to take place on a much bigger scale. For you, Lucy, there was some intervention. Someone kind of came to your rescue or got your attention. Who was that, and was that the answer for you?
Well, you know, like I said, I got involved in gang activity early on, and by the time I was 15 years old, I actually was on juvenile parole, and my parole officer actually was one of the first people that really intervened and treated me as a child with issues as opposed to just another criminal that was going through the justice system. And so she really was that first person that began to guide me and to really encourage me and allow me to believe that I was capable of something different, that I was capable of one day being a professional. I mean, obviously it didn't happen overnight, and I did end up, much to her dismay, dropping out of high school, but that really was that first person that kind of set me on the right track.
And now a law student you are. Congratulations on that. So, Macarena, hopefully there's some intervention before a child gets to the level of being exposed to a parole officer, having a parole officer. So what's your advice? What are you hoping in a much bigger way can take place in terms of who do you want to intervene for a lot of these young girls, particularly Latino girls, at the elementary school level, as you mentioned?
I think there's a lot of things we can do, and one thing is to bring the parents along on the journey. My own parents had elementary school educations. They didn't speak the language, and so it's important to explain to parents the process, because for someone who went up to 5th grade, they won't be able to help their own children navigate the world, the college world. So it's important to really educate the parents, and I think people would be surprised how many parents are willing to go along for the ride if they had just more information. The other thing too is to make sure that Latinas, especially that are professionals, volunteer their time at local schools. I think it's very important for young Latinas who don't have role models, who've never met a Latina doctor or a Latina journalist or a Latina, lawyer, for them to see that, and for these people like Lucy. I mean, her story is so inspiring. I'm sure that any student that hears her story will be inspired to continue on.
And Tanya, what do you see that's happening that you want to see more of in the way of intervention?
I have to agree with Magdalena over there in regards to more parent outreach. I think that there are parents who want to know more information, who are willing to come to school, come to your house and get more information. Definitely more parent outreach. And I know it's difficult. A lot of the parents work, 2 to 3 jobs, and it's difficult, but more parent involvement. And also at the elementary school level, just reaching out, collaborating with our local feeder schools. And I have to agree with her, Magdalena, again, in regards to more Latinos doing outreach, serving as mentors, serving as examples. I wish I had someone to look up to other than my family members in regards to pursuing a career or going on to college. That truly makes a difference in providing a hope and a resource for these students in the community.
Tanya Cabrera, Macarena Hernandez, and Lucy Flores, thanks to all of you ladies for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And next month, only on CNN, Latino in America, a comprehensive look at how Latinos are changing America, reshaping politics, business, schools, churches, and neighborhoods. Latino in America. See it here on CNN. The FAA is ordering 2 airlines to change out airspeed sensors on their Airbus planes. A sensor failure is suspected in the crash of Air France flight in June. That killed 228 people. U.S. Airways and Northwest Airlines are the only U.S. airlines that